So why is Tim Pool wrong here?
What do we do when we are dealing with a mental illness that was intentionally programmed by activist organizations to put people into a state of paranoid delusion that there are Nazis around every corner? There's no medication that will change that because this is a programming issue.
I mean, this breaks my heart because, I mean, the solution really was to have Charlie Kirk, because he was going out there to these universities and he was
taking on the woke mind virus.
Putting in FaceTime, having people like listen to him about these issues, having difficult questions.
Tim Pool says the left has a massive culture problem. It's making mental illness worse. This is, of course, this is a culture war instigator here. He's a culture war promoter. He's dabbling in the art of promoting the culture war. They don't even understand that this all goes back to class, and they love to make it about culture. And the only reason there is a left, a true left, not like the democratic establishment, is because of our position, specifically not with culture, but with the economy. It's about the organization of the economy, how the economy is organized. The left and the right are at odds with how the economy should be organized. And to say, and we are, recognizing the economic violence that is pervasive in a class war, and culture warriors want to avoid that conversation. They want to talk about the culture war. They love dividing people.
Difficult conversations, and that's what we really need more of. We need to humanize the other side. And I love social media for that. Although I get censored, and I know a lot of people do get censored for having these things. But I think the more we can break away from ABC News and like CNN and these places that have just a very, to me now, it's a very obvious narrative to serve their base rather than...
Well, not Jerome. Or Dance. You say, no, it's culture too. Saying you want to K-word people because the Bible says so is pretty effing heinous. Well, the point is that those ideas are used. The Bible is a perfect justification for doing things that are economically profitable for the exploiters. So again, it goes back to the economy. These policies would not be pursued if they were not beneficial to the ruling class. And we know that ideology is used ultimately to justify economic expansion. So again, it really doesn't have to do with religious ideology. It doesn't have to do with the Bible. Those things are being co-opted by capitalists. Those things are being co-opted by imperialists, neocons, fascists. Love to espouse religious idolatry and religious ideology. And I think you are getting confused by not recognizing essentially the importance and the primacy of the economic base, which creates all ideology, all socially acceptable ideology. You were looking at the superstructure and saying that's the cause. No, it's the economy. The economic base is the cause, and the ideological superstructure serves as the justification.
Trying to be helpful and actually see things in a logical, rational way. The more exposure that we can have and get these ideas out there, I think that will de-radicalize people. I think they...
In other words, if the economy was differently organized, ideas and policies and certain organizations would get defunded, and other organizations' ideas and policies would get funded.
It will wake up to it slowly, and I think it is happening.
I do think so. I'm. It's tough. I want to be optimistic.
Harry, thank you for the super chat. I have not seen Charlie's wife's speech. Or no, I did see that. Yeah. She posted a really weird video showing her like with his casket, open casket. I don't know. I guess his funeral's today. If I find it, I'll show it to you. I just saw it. I just don't remember where. I'm pretty sure it was on Twitter. Yeah, showing off the body. I know you can see they show his hands. It's pretty morbid.
Following this brutal assassination of a political leader and friend, I was hoping that your more moderate or default liberals...
Yeah, but those preachers are well funded by capitalists. Those preachers are able to amplify that message because it comports with the economic base. It comports with imperial capitalism. So it's always, religious extremism is used to justify what is morally indefensible. So they have to use religion. And I'm not saying that the culture can't also influence the economic base, but I'm telling you that is an anomaly, and the rule is that the economic base influences and creates all social, political, and cultural life, including religious ideologies.
Who do believe things that are not true because of, as I described, would be shocked to see such a graphic and horrific incident. They weren't.
They weren't shocked at all.
I have friends, people that I've known for years, that work in Hollywood.
Religious extremism was always funded by private banks. So going back to the Crusades, again, yes, it existed before capitalism, but what I'm telling you is that religious ideology is used to justify what represents people extracting more, whether it's resources, land, actual people. They use religion, but the real root of the cause is that what they're doing is giving them more things physically, materially. So when a settler colonist uses Jewish supremacy or Christian supremacy or Muslim supremacy, whatever religions that they want to use, we understand that materially what they represent is a settler colonist. They're not, they're co-opting, they're using what is supposed to be a God-given right to practice religion to justify what they could not morally defend themselves through their actions.
That are prominent liberals, they're activists, but I always consider them kind of be normie default libs that they post your generic talking point. And I genuinely believed yesterday that many of those people were going to be like, this is not okay, stop. And today I woke up and looked at Instagram stories from people that don't spend time in politics. They only just, they post a black square profile picture for George Floyd. They'll repost some activist talking point. And I'm seeing several videos being shared by many of these individuals who are well known, justifying the death, saying things like, Charlie got the world that he wanted, so be it. Saying things that Charlie Kirk wanted to kill you, so they killed him. Saying things like, this is a man who genuinely hated black people and wanted them dead, all fake, all lies. And these were supposed to be sane, rational people that I knew, that I could still talk to. And I don't know how we move forward right now. There are posts on
I mean, it's just another one where like the point goes over Tim Pool's head. He's not quite understanding that he's already tacitly accepting the prevailing violence of our day. There's one side in this society, one class that wields a monopoly on violence and is able to use institutions to carry out that violence against poor people, against working class people. The violence is already inherent in capitalism. There's already, the table has already been, thrown over. And in that context, you're looking at people that have become disillusioned and have arrived at despair, seeing that there are very limited options to overcome these institutions. And you're calling that, now you're pearl clutching. Now you're pearl clutching about the violence. But you're swimming in violence, already. And so we have to, again, go back to the class character of every word, idea, object, label, identity, etc., etc. Violence for who? Whose violence against who? And this is something that he will never acknowledge. To him, it's like listening to somebody that has not graduated past the level of sense perceptions and impressions about their world. They look at individual phenomena as isolated. They don't see causal relationships, They haven't gone beyond surface level understanding to understand the contradictions inherent in all objects, ideas, events, etc. So to him, it's just like, it's obvious that he has a double standard, that he is learned and then ingrained inside his thinking. And, he sees it just as, an individual event that should be condemned, and without really linking it all together.
X with 20 million views. Who's next? He deserved it.
Yeah, and it kind of goes back to what you were saying about what happens when you are raised in a culture that tells you there are invisible cameras circling your body, and you have the delusion. What happens when you're raised with delusion? And you also mentioned that these are not people who are particularly involved in politics. So what happens is they hear from trusted sources like ABC or MSNBC or the others that Charlie Kirk is a fascist, that this very Christian man who espoused peace is hateful and evil, right?
Or he's responsible for school shootings.
Or he's responsible for all of these things.
Pro-Second Amendment, and
This
he's
man
always
who-
This guy was political. He dressed up as Trump for Halloween.
No, not this guy. I mean, like in general, the people who are on social media saying this stuff, they're not steeped in politics, but they believe everything that they've heard that's negative about Charlie, and they've never looked into it themselves. Look at stupid Stephen King, right? He espoused this whole thing of like Charlie wanted to stone gay people or whatever, and then everyone was like, "You are wrong. Look at the clip. Look at the clip."
He's got a viral post saying,
and he had to apologize. He apologized, but like that's not going viral.
He actually said that he couldn't stand the people that were trying to gatekeep the movement and keep gay people from the conservative movement.
Exactly.
Charlie did everything he could to lift up black conservatives and black people on the left too, for that matter. So anybody that says that he was racist is just
He did everything he could to lift up black people by engaging in stereotypes against black people and supporting and reinforcing and entrenching the institutions that gave us white supremacy, that practice and implement policies of white supremacy, that marginalize black people. He is the champion of those institutions. He is the mouthpiece for those institutions. He is justifying, normalizing, sanitizing those institutions. And he's blaming the victims of those institutions for their victimhood, for their pain, for their suffering, for the misery and the poverty that they live in. So he's not doing anything for black people. Why are we watching Shillsville? Well, that's a funny way of putting it, but you have to understand that we are here as political agitators and we have to engage in the contradictions. You know, I want to be a good contradiction to capitalism. I want to be a good contradiction to reactionary talking points. So in order to do that, I have to listen to the right. I have to listen to people that espouse these talking points. And we have to go through it and understand why they're wrong and what they're wrong for.
ignorant.
But he also had ideas that maybe were horrific or you disagreed with. He would debate you on them and change his mind if you offered a position. That was the
Yeah, nobody's saying that this guy deserved to die. I don't think that Charlie Kirk deserved to die. I don't think people should be K-worded for their political ideas, just for talking. You know, we have to judge people by their material function in society, of course. But that being said, the did serve institutions which were inherently violent, and he influenced the culture to support those institutions which are inherently violent. So he's not a saint. Nobody thinks that he should perish on account. I mean, that's not, if we're supposed to believe in all of the values and principles of America and the Constitution, like right to free speech, but let's not try to put lipstick on a pig.
thing. So I don't care. You give me a list of all the bad things he said, debate him on it. That was the point.
There's no reason whatsoever for this to happen to Charlie Kirk. Like, there's a million other people this could have happened to, and it would not have this effect. So.
Well, there's a million other people that this is happening to, and you and everyone sitting at that table are noticeably absent on your critique of these policies that are being carried out in your name and by your government and with your money, where we are slaughtering an entire civilization right now. And Charlie Kirk was its biggest proponent of that. Like, he cheered on the genocide, engaged in genocidal rhetoric. He was closely aligned with the Israeli government. The empire that he was able to build, Turning Point USA, that was built by Zionists. That was given to Charlie Kirk by Zionists. The only reason he had millions of followers and such a platform was because of Zionism. I have seen Alex Stein critique Israel, and that's true, and we should give him credit for that. I have a lot of disagreements with, Alex and people at this table, but I will give credit to Alex for not towing the line when it comes to Israel, just because, uncritically. Oh, he certainly profited off of it. I mean, we all are. I mean, I'm not saying that you're the same as Charlie Kirk, but we are all benefiting in the imperial core indirectly to the impoverishment, exploitation, and yes, the genocide of various ethnic groups around the world. It's a teachable moment, right? We can see the double standard. Always the double standard. Always the class content is implicit in every idea expressed, and everyone has an angle. And I think the people on the right, a lot of the times, they're not honest about it. They should just be honest about it. Some of them are, but some of them aren't. A lot of them aren't. Liberals certainly are not honest. That they, bootlick, that they're siding with the oppressors. They're siding with the upper class. They're siding with the ruling class. They're accepting society as it is. Might makes right.
Oh, this happening to Charlie Kirk is why this is so impactful.
This is what's scary, is that those of us who knew Charlie, and I don't just mean personally, I mean those who knew who he really was, knew that he was a really nice guy. He was not somebody who went on...
he was a good family man. He was a nice dude, okay? Right-wing talk show host was friends with Charlie Kirk and says, Charlie was a nice guy. Yeah, we get it, dude. Okay. Thank you, Hallister, for the 5 gifted subscriptions on YouTube. I appreciate all of the gifts and the super chats, y'all. Thank you for helping me continue to do this. We just hit 53,000 on the YouTube page, and we're steadily growing. We have over 1,000 people on the Discord. I hope that you join the Discord. We're going to take a look at some of the threads in the Discord in a little bit. But, this whole excuse of, like, who he was to his family is not a good argument, you know. Charlie Kirk was certainly influencing the culture to be more racist, more divisive, more exclusive, more conducive to capital. That's what he represents to society, and we have to recognize that.
TV and was angry. There are a lot of people in the space, especially on the right, who are angry and are yelling and saying, you know what, these people, I'll tell you. That wasn't Charlie. And that's one of the reasons I think it was so impactful and horrifying, is that Charlie was always really calm and nice. And at the bare minimum, the worst emotion you got from him when you debated him was him scoffing or laughing and saying, what? No, here's my idea. But he never yelled at you. He never insulted you. He would, I've seen so many of his videos. He would only, the closest he ever got is when he would give back what he was given. Mm-hmm. To the point that I was making about these people and their views, mentioning that they're raised in this society. They go online and they're surrounded by people saying, these people are fascists. Punch Nazis. Nazis are bad. The way I've explained it before is, we all know that feeling because there are certain things you cannot do in public. There are certain things that if you do, you will be shunned or harassed or isolated, and there are things you would react to. For instance, most people on the left and the right, if they witnessed a man yelling racial slurs at another man, would be mad about it and would say, hey, you can't do that. That's not okay. That is
There's really no evidence, that this kid was on the left, but I love that the right is trying to paint him as the left. And really, like, the killing of Charlie Kirk is bad, it's awful. It's tragic, it's horrific, it's everything that complies with the YouTube community guidelines, of course. And it doesn't help, it doesn't serve anything. It only makes us more morose and morbid. And Charlie was not even a real villain in our society. He was a mouthpiece for the villains.
Overwhelming majority of this country, racists exist. So we know that feeling of, if you were sitting down at a restaurant and you saw a guy get up and start screaming at a black man and insulting him, was minding his own business, or his family, and calling him names, you would react viscerally. You work at the shop would say, get out of here, don't you do that. So we understand that feeling. The problem is, there is a generation and the liberal political faction that have been raised to believe that racist guy screaming racial slurs was you, me, was Charlie. So when someone comes out and tells them, imagine if someone said, that guy who was threatening to murder that black woman, calling her racial slurs and was taunting her and poured a milkshake on her head, walked outside and got hit by a car. People are going to be like,
yeah, wow.
And you're not really going to feel that bad. That's where liberals are right now. That's because of the lies, the intentional lies from ABC News, from CNN, from MSNBC. Remember MSNBC said when Charlie got shot, perhaps someone was firing celebratory gunfire?
They also said he was divisive.
And he said awful things, so he gets awful actions.
Right.
That's the world they're living in. And so, again, I'm kind of ranting because obviously it's so personal.
It also,
my point, sorry, just to finalize it. These are people who imagine they're on a boat, and all around them, that's the only thing they're told and they can see. They can't get to the ship or the landmass that we're on, where we're welcoming of everybody. And what terrifies me the most about it is, layered in this psychology that has been developed by these media organizations is...
Yeah, he just invented a whole hate crime scenario to justify his emotions.
If you talk to Charlie...
I was wondering that too. I mean, I hope you could see it in my face. I'm like, what is he talking about? Why is he talking about this imaginary hate crime?
And he says something different from what we told you, it is because he is lying to trick you so that you abandon your values.
Look, I don't think anybody's losing any sleep thinking about how Charlie Kirk was slighted on his in his platform. I'm not talking about his assassination. Obviously, he didn't deserve to die. I'm saying that the guy had a huge following. Okay, he was the poster child for the Republican MAGA Israel First party, and I don't think his message was corrupted by mainstream media to incite people to hate Charlie Kirk. I think what made people hate Charlie Kirk is Charlie Kirk and the ideas that he expressed in his public appearances.
And then every interaction these liberals have with any of us, there is a veil of, I know that if you agree with me, it's you lying to trick me, so I won't believe anything you say no matter what you say.
This is so much mental gymnastics. I'm lost. I'm lost in his thinking.
This is making me think of the role of, to get back to what you were talking about earlier, Libby, and I think actually I saw a great clip of you talking about this from recently.
Yeah, that's what I think. Too old. Groypers versus MAGA. Right versus woke right.
I think at the heart of this phenomenon that we're talking about. And I think it's
And then I start thinking, well, Israel is destroying MAGA. Israel is creating this fissure in the Republican Party, the Republican base, I should say.
I think it's across the culture and not even necessarily just political in nature, is the privileging of your emotions, especially your outrage and your anger, and basically letting your anger shape your perceptions of reality and define what you think of as true. And I think a lot of that, what is a part of the root of that, I think, is this ubiquity of therapeutic culture.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Culture War podcast. We're live every Friday.
Culture war, baby. The culture war. That's it. 5 wild
there is
Charlie
one
Kirk
person
conspiracies.
responsible for what happened here, and that person is now in custody and will be charged soon and will be held accountable.
Damn it, he's not an immigrant.
After an over 30-hour manhunt, authorities say they've got the man who shot and killed political activist Charlie Kirk on the campus of Utah Valley University. Because as the frantic search was ramping up, there has been a lot of chatter and misinformation and theories surrounding Charlie Kirk's death. We're taking some time to discuss some of these theories that have been spreading quite quickly online and in the media, as well as brand new information.
Trump is destroying MAGA, not Israel. Well, that's, Trump is an extension of Netanyahu. Trump is Netanyahu's puppet. Netanyahu has his hand way up Trump's butt. You know, we read something where, I think it was the Gray Zone article that suggested, I mean, we kind of already knew this, but Trump is like fearful if he defies Israel, what's going to happen to him. He's fearful of Netanyahu. And I think that pans out. I think that tracks. Thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe to the page to help it grow. And if you'd like to support my work, join my Patreon for exclusive content.